Now this could have been really bad. I could have been dead, lost, forever. I have to kind of squint at you because I had my eyes dilated. No, I'm not on drugs. Well, Western drugs, legal drugs apparently, but so I have an eye issue. It started showing up January 2022, and I had a detached retina, and it had 3 tears in it. It was a doozy. So thankfully I had a great doctor in Jacksonville, Florida that fixed my eye, got me in this next day. And then had another one last April 2024, and that was in the right eye. That was my strong eye until that point. So that was also detached. He always has to drink water when I get on the video. Anyways, so that one was detached, and that one was concerning as well because it was by the macula where the tear was, and that's really bad. That's where your vision comes through. That's not the official definition, but that's a huge part of your seeing. So, and I could always look it up if you want more info, or I could put a link down below. But anyways, so that was fixed in Phoenix, Arizona area, because I was in Arizona. So it's been a journey. Now, what happens after you have detached retinas, then it can throw you into needing cataract surgery. Now, the left eye's been good until just recently, and it's still not too bad. I think he said it's like a 1. They do it in stage of 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 being like you have to have it done. I think the right eye was 2 something, he said. So, anyway, so the cataract surgery is now on my to-do list because it's getting harder to see around these cataracts. In cataracts, it's like this cloudy film on your lens. And so sometimes things are clear, sometimes things are not. I don't know if the lens rotates around or what the deal is, but so to drive and be safe and everything, I need these fixed. That means they put in completely new lenses. Which years ago I thought, oh, that'll be super cool. I'd be able to see really well. Well, I didn't know that I was gonna have detached retinas in my future, and that made my vision worse. Which I already had bad vision, like bad, strong prescriptions, so yay. So I thought I'd just kind of document this journey. I'm about to take off tomorrow and go on a little trip. And so part of this trip is like keeping it short. I was originally thinking of going to Idaho and Montana just in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks time. It would be a haul, number 1. Number 2, I wouldn't really get to stop and enjoy things as much as I want to. And then the other factor, huge factor, is also my eyes, right? I need to make sure my eyes are good, and that I'm a safe driver to keep me safe, keep other people safe, all of it. So, yeah, so I just had this appointment. This was being proactive. I didn't want to wait until my June 5th appointment with the cataract surgeon for them to go, oh, well, you've had retinas, detached retinas. We better send you to a retina specialist. So I jumped ahead, came in here, got it done. And then, yeah, so right now, that's why I have my eyes dilated. They check your retinas. They take all these images from left and right and up and down. You know, it's not really fun. It is blind. And then you know, when the doctor's looking at your eye, it's just literally blinding light. And I wouldn't wish this on anybody, but if you face this, you can do it. If I can do this, anybody can do it. You know, you can get fearful and stuff like that, but it doesn't serve you. You know, grieve it, do what you have to do, but then move forward, because thankfully, Western medicine is good at repairing our physical bodies. I think it's quite good. I always say internal medicine, I think it's crap. But if you go with needing, you know, bones fixed, eyes fixed, they've come a long way. And I'm so grateful, because I think back to 100 or so years ago, if I, you know, a couple 100 years ago, if I'd lost my retinas like this, if my eyes had detached, I'd be blind. And I'm young for this. Like, I'm usually the youngest person in that waiting room. So I'm 55. I'll be 56 in August. And so, yeah, it's kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. And I just asked this doctor, like, what are my percentages of my retinas detaching again? He said, it's very, very low. I said, even with being so young? And he said, yeah. So he said the surgeries went really well. My retinas look good. So I'm just trying to be grateful for that. So this is my update. I will update you on what else is going on with that as time goes on. But I feel like people need to hear this because number one, to help you with fear. Number two, even if you don't have eye issues, maybe you have something else going on, and just, you know, use your support system, and also just have hope, because just because the doctors tell you it's one thing, I just don't always believe them. And I think a lot of it is up to you in your mindset and your beliefs. I really believe that. Sorry, my eyes are watering. It's because it's so bright out here now. The sun's coming out. Really not a good time. You think by Seattle you could at least trust that there's not gonna be any sunshine. But it's really bright because my eyes are dilated, so my eyes are watering. Yeah. So anyways, I just realized I left a big part of the news with my eyes off of that last video. So what happened was, you know, they checked the retinas and everything. They said that yes, I can have that surgery because I have retina issues, if you will. I've already had retina issues that does throw me into a higher bracket of possibly having problems, which could be tears or whatever. So anytime you have a procedure on your eyes, that I'm more at risk for those kinds of things. So that's the update. It's good and bad news, I think, if you will. I guess the percentages aren't huge on having more problems, but because I'm in that higher bracket, yay. I want to be in a different higher bracket, like a higher income bracket, not the higher issue bracket, but. This is the historic Tumwater Park. It's a little tricky because you come in and it looks like there's nothing up there. But you come down this drive here, and then you can see there's pathways that are paved, some are not. But this is actually a nice place, dog friendly. You just park and go enjoy all the different trails they have here. Go that way? We could go that way. All right, so we've done a bunch of stops and now we're at the dog food store. Do you want to go in? Do you want to go get a bone? You want to go get food? Yeah, are you ready? Let's do it. This little bunny came towards us for a minute there. I thought it was gonna become Flynn's, what would that be, Flynn? After dinner snack, I guess? You sit? You go. So it's Memorial Weekend, and I'm sick, and I've been sick for, what's this, like what, Thursday night, I think it started. My stomach started getting messed up, and then it just went downhill. Got a fever, all sorts of things. And I was sitting here just a few minutes ago thinking about how I was feeling sorry for myself, that nobody had checked on me except for one person out of like maybe 6 that know. And I realized I needed to get over it because everybody's busy, everybody has their own life, everybody has their own, we're all about our own selves, whether we try to be or not. And I just have to remember, maybe they're all having a rough day, or they don't have cell service, or maybe they're taking a mental holiday for themselves, you know? So Flynn, he's here always for me, and I think about that and my faith and how God is always here for me. So maybe somebody else isn't checking up on me like I think they should be. But you know what? Too bad. I gotta get over it. And I've got my best buddy with me, and I've got more than that. I've got God watching over me, checking on me, taking care of me. So a lot to be grateful for. We take for granted dogs and how they're always here for us. And I think we do the same thing with God. I think we don't know what a blessing that is. You're so sweet. So this story I actually forgot about until recently when I was talking to someone and it came up, and it's just kind of neat how things come back around in your memory, right? To refresh your memory, to remind you of good things that have happened. Now this could have been really bad. I could have been dead, lost forever. Could have met up with some wrong animal. You're leaving me? Really? Come here. Come here. I need you. Yeah. Come here. You're much more interesting to look at. Come here. Come on. Thank you. So beautiful. I always say that he's the best looking dog I'll ever have in my life because Look at them. Look at them. So just let me give you a little bit of background. It was every Memorial weekend, the church that we were going to would have a hike up in the Adirondacks. Now, if you don't know where those are in New York State. Beautiful mountains, not like huge and massive like the Rockies, but beautiful in their own way. And that's the only mountains I knew because I'm from back east, so I thought they were pretty cool. And they are, don't get me wrong. So I used to go every Memorial Day, our church used to go, and then when I got old enough, and I don't know what the cutoff was, maybe it was 10 or something, then you could go and be, you know, your family could go and you could enjoy it. The trickiest part was packing your backpack so that it wasn't too heavy, because you had to hike, it felt like 10,000 miles to me as a kid, but I think it was a mile or two, a couple miles, I don't remember, to get to the lodge where you'd park from. Maybe it even wasn't that long, right? When you're a kid, it feels like forever to pull that weight. So that was the not fun part that I didn't like. And so if I'd been smart, I probably should have packed like next to nothing, but you know, I was a kid that was, you know, a girl that had her priorities maybe a little. Anyways, so we used to go, and the lodge up in the Adirondack Mountains was called John's Brook Lodge, because there was the brook or the creek that ran right next to it. And we had the best time. We'd spend hours hopping rocks and little competitions like that between the kids. And it was a gorgeous setting, really beautiful. And I'll put some images in here for you to see and enjoy. They're kind of older pictures, so they're not gonna be that clear, I don't think. Although I might be able to steal some from my brother's Facebook page, so we'll try that. But the day hiking trips were a lot of fun. We'd go out, you know, go and hike different mountains. You take your lunch with you and your gorp. Do you guys know what that is? It's what they call trail mix now. I don't know why it was called gorp, but that's what they called it. So we had leaders from church that would go and organize it. You also had an initiation thing that you had to pass to become a Tahoe-ist, I think that's how you say it, hiker. I don't know where that name came from. Maybe someone knows. But we were the Tahoe-ist hikers. So one day we're out hiking and having a good time. And I'd seen other people have to go to the bathroom, and people would hold, you know, the blanket around them so they could go. Okay. Sorry about that. It never fails that either if we're by water, he drinks the water, which you'll see in the video from the other day, or if I'm starting to record something, I get a message when I like haven't had a message all morning. So I don't get it. But anyways, it's just, I call it Murphy's Law, and I used to say that was my life, but that's not the best thing, right? So I don't say that anymore. All right, so I had to go to the bathroom. Like really had to go to the bathroom. But I, you know, as a like a tween, right? Preteen, I didn't want to go to the bathroom. I was a very private person. I've always been that way, reserved. I didn't want to go to the bathroom with a blanket around me and anybody might be able to see still. And I didn't, I just didn't want to do that. So it was not cool. You know, why weren't there porta potties everywhere? But anyways, so what happened was I was like determined not to have to do that. But then I was getting to the point where I really had to go. So what I did is I thought, oh, I'll just go ahead, I'll follow the trail, and I'll just go ahead of the group and get back to the lodge and go to the bathroom like a civilized person. So I did that. I went ahead of the group. Ding, 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 huge alert, right? That's not a good idea ever, to like, when you don't know the area well. And even if you do, it's just always better to have at least some other people with you. But I was independent like I am today, and so I went ahead. So what happened was I was having no problems following the trail. They're marked really well in the Adirondacks. They used to have these metal markers. They're probably all ripped down. People probably stole them or whatever because they're kind of cool. But you know, right, they paint the trees on trails so you know where to go. So I'm following along, and all of a sudden I come to this point where it's a big opening, like clearing, you know, less trees because the brook was going through there, a creek, you know, not St. John's, but John's Brook, you know, maybe not. I don't remember the time. It probably was, right? So I get to that point, there's a clearing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where does the trail go? You know, I cannot see where the markers are on the other side of the creek because you have to cross the creek, but then where do I go? So I watch this guy as I'm thinking about this, trying to figure it out. I watched this guy come along. He's got his metal camping dishes with him. He's got a little dog, and so he gets over to the creek and he's washing his dishes. And I'm like, all right, Lord, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna ask this dude, please let him not be like a serial killer. Let him not be a creeper. Let him be somebody that can actually help me. Or even if he can't, not bother me. You know, because as a woman, you really think that way, right? I was a kid, a young girl, so I was thinking that way. So I was like, all right, here we go. Let me ask this guy. So I just hopped a little bit closer, and you know, on the rocks, and I asked him. I said, I'm lost. Like, I don't think I said that because I didn't want to let him know. I'm like, do you see where the trail goes? You know, like, I'm not sure where it goes from here. I don't see the markings, you know, on the trees. And so I remember he barely looked at me, and he's like, oh, it's right over there, you know? And I'm like, oh, great, thank you. Because as soon as he pointed, it's like, it just was so obvious where to go that I felt really stupid, actually. But it was so clear on where to go, and it hadn't been just seconds before. So I said, thank you very much. I see it. And I hopped over. Now, it only took a few seconds to hop over a couple of rocks more. Like, it was not a wide area of the creek, you know. So it took a couple seconds, I don't know, let's say 20 seconds or something, 30 seconds maybe. I don't even think that long to get over. You're not gonna stay with me? Aw, dude. So I get over there and I look back to say thank you again, and he's gone. Gone. Him, the dog, nowhere to be found. I scanned the whole area. It's a big open area. Nothing. Nobody there. All I see are some wet spots from where he was washing up his dishes. That's it. Now, nobody could disappear that quickly. I mean, even if he ran like the wind out of there, he could not have disappeared that fast, because it was all rocky, number one, so nobody's gonna take off running on top of all those rocks. And number two, it was a big area. I knew that there's no way he could have disappeared like that. So I had a sense of wonder, you know, like what happened? And so as I walked the trail, I kept thinking about it. And I remember that I had just prayed before, right? And it's like, I just knew I'd seen an angel. Now, is it my guardian angel and all that? I don't know, right? I'd like to think I have a guardian angel with me. I think he or she probably really laughs. Well, I don't know if they're he or she, right? I'm sure they laugh at me and my antics and how clumsy I can be. But whoever that was showed up as an answer to prayer that I didn't even know I had, right? Like seconds before. Just showed up, made it look like they were part of the scene, because otherwise I'd be really freaked out, right? I mean, can you imagine like an angel in their full glory, like showing up? Scared the bejesus out of you, right? So as I walked, I knew I'd seen an angel and that I'd had help, heavenly help. And I was so grateful, because I knew that meant it could have been really bad. Could have been a bad situation. Otherwise I could have gotten really lost at that point. Eventually get dark, right? I didn't have survival skills. I was a kid from the suburbs, just up hanging out in the Adirondack Mountains. I didn't know what I was doing. So I think it's a neat analogy. As I go through life, I've thought about this. It's a neat analogy that you're on the rocks sometimes and you cannot see where to go. You have no idea. The path is so blurry. Everything is so blurry. And being somebody that's struggling with sight stuff right now, it really hits home, right? So if you stop and pray and have faith, and it's sometimes you got to step out on faith, right? Because it can be very scary to look around you at that time. Step out on faith, say a prayer, and believe it will be answered. And it's just happened to me repeatedly throughout my life. Not always that dramatic. I mean, that is crazy dramatic, right? Who has that happen to them? Well, actually more people than you realize. I've spoken with so many people, and it's neat the stories that I hear from people. And maybe I could get them to put it on video, I don't know. But I hope that helps you. I hope it encourages you. And I hope it challenges you too. That if you're in a rocky place right now, ask for help. Will it show up that very second like it did for me? No, I was a kid. I tend to think kids have better, stronger faith than we do as adults. You know, we just know. Like when I was a kid and I was playing with Barbies and I couldn't find my Barbie's outfit. I had it in this drawer. I'd go digging through and I couldn't find it. I'd say a prayer and boom, right away I'd find it. And it's such a ridiculous thing, right? Why would God care about a Barbie's clothes? But I think that was just a way to help me have more faith and to understand that God was real and actually listen to ridiculous prayers. So I hope that's a blessing to you. It's a good reminder for me too. One thing that I forgot to do was to ask you to share your stories. Where have you seen some miracles happen? They might have been little miracles, but you know what? It meant something to you. So I'd love for you to share in the comments. Thank you. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.